incorporating all the current updates in technology, even though not specified in scope statement. This is what everybody looks for in any project. Now, how can we arrive at an optimum combination of risk and project completion objectives? That's the question. So, we realize that risk is part and parcel of any project. So, we should appreciate the inherent, that is, strategic risks in any project, irrespective of who is executing the project. So, strategic risk analysis is important for us from the following perspectives. One is the project viability perspective. Typically, the project owner is concerned with this seriously. And of course, selection of the execution partner. Typically, when you look at the probability distribution of cost step by stages in any project, as you can see here in the feasibility study stage, if you look at it, it is at the bottom of the torpedo. There is a wide variation in the estimation, the maximum and the minimum and the most likely, it goes like that. And when it gets into a design phase, slowly it is getting truncated, and when it comes to the tendering phase, still it is truncated, and as execution progresses, it gets almost towards the tip of the torpedo. So this is what is called the torpedo effect in project cost estimations. The actual cost towards the end will typically be towards most likely that you would have estimated. It should be somewhere there if you have done your estimation right. That is at the time of closure and claim settlement. Now, when you do a comprehensive risk analysis, you have to do it in three phases, that is three areas. One is the inherent project risk, risk specific to the owner, and execution specific risk. That means IPR, the OSR, and the ESR. After the risk analysis, create risk indices in each of the following categories, that is inherent project risk, risk specific to the owner, and execution risk. Now, when we do a bidding process, what we have to do here is, in the pre-bid screening phase, once you have shortlisted the possible bidders for any project, ask the bidders to go through the risk evaluation by them in the same areas that we have already done, perhaps if we are the owners. Ask them not to submit the price bid, ask them to submit their assessment of the risk in all the areas, risk matching exercise of the risks that we have already defined. That means they will give you inherent project risk assessed by them, risk specific to the owner, execution risk. Match those indices submitted by them with that you have already assessed. That means you have pre-done the assessment yourself, and now they have bid with only the risk indices. Their estimate should fall within plus minus 2 sigma, that is 2 standard deviation of your assessment. Then only they have understood the risk. So in the second phase, you select only those bidders who have submitted within plus minus 2 sigma of what you have assessed. Then ask them to submit again the final bid with prices. By this way, at that time, the second time, the risk index should be plus minus 1 sigma of your estimation. This will compel for realistic provision of risks. Segregate the contracts and risks distinctly. Focus on bidders will be on the project deliverables rather than getting project based on L1. Both owners and contractors would jointly work towards risk mitigation, thereby achieving acceptable project closure. Project will be subjected to lesser ambiguities and interpretation, better dispute resolution and settlement, and overall, of course, stakeholder satisfaction and transparency. I talked about project leadership and risk understanding, and also said risk maturity models. I'm going to get into that now. This is called the RMM levels. Risk management maturity model. Level 1 is where you have initial approach, you have an ad hoc arrangement for risk assessment based on individual capabilities in the organization. That is called level 1. Then you have the specialist silos. It is typically reactive, department-specific risk management, non-collaborative. That means multiple departments don't talk to each other. That is actually a level 2 organization. Then you have the ERM framework. That means enterprise resource management, enterprise-wide risk management framework. It is, you have some structured policies and procedures, organizational level awareness exists, project lifecycle risk assessment and risk management exists, and qualitative risk assessment exists. If these things are there, then you are a level 3 company, level 3 organization. Then ERM optimized, the enterprise-wide risk management optimized. You are proactive, that means you are doing it before. Then integration with business process, benchmarking you have done, and risk quantification you have done. That is in level 4. The ultimate level, CMM, just like CMM level 5, the level 5 in RMM is risk intelligent organization. The opportunity exploitation happens based on risk as well as opportunity. You are able to take a high risk, high opportunity situation. Then risk portfolio management, integration, risk integration with strategy, and risk reward relationship exists. So just a recap for you to know what we talked about: prioritization, analyzing, risk response plan, implement and manage a plan,